Dude, why do you have so many Wampler pedals? Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. You guys already know what to do. Today we're going to talk about why I'm such a big Wampler fan. So for me, gear is super cool, but what's cooler is the story behind the gear. The gear itself is always going to be cool, but it's the personal stories that I really am drawn to, and that's really what the podcast is all about. The gear stuff is always important, but it's the personal connections you make with people through that gear, or the shared experiences you can have with gear. So, story time. I was in the military for a little less than a decade. Had a great time, went on a few deployments. Here's some pictures and all that. I don't really talk about that too much, just because with the podcast, it's like I want to talk about like the overcoming adversities and stuff like that. And the reason why I don't talk about my military experience too much is just because I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to one-up anybody, if that makes sense. But anyway, why I am gravitated towards Wampler Pedals? Well, it's really important because I got out of the military in 2020. I got a normal job, working a 9 to 5, and I came from a place of really A-type personality, like highly motivated individuals. It was a great time, everybody trying to better themselves, and then I went to this job where that definitely wasn't the case. And I'm not saying that everybody there was like that. There are definitely people that I work with that are great people. It's just it wasn't the same thing. Everybody just kind of seemed satisfied with just the way it was, and I'm not going to worry about it. And I got really kind of like depressed. Like I never got why people got depressed out of the military until I got out, and I was like, oh man, this is why. And nothing like crazy. Like I said, I don't like really talking about it too much because I don't know how to like really relay it. But regardless, I went into a local shop, and I was playing in a cover band at the time, and we were doing a lot of like 90s rock, sort of 2000s, alternative stuff like that. I needed something with a little bit of gain behind it. I had a few pedals that would have worked for it, or just the gain off the amp, but I needed something that worked a little better. And I found this. The Wampler Dracarys. Now, I had heard of Wampler before, and I knew about him. I used to work in music stores, so I was aware of the company. But I'd never played one before. I'd never had one. I've never really did anything. And then when I bought the pedal, I started doing a little bit more research into Wampler and seeing what they're all about. In turn, found the Chasing Tone podcast. I actually think I found the Tone Mob podcast before that because the job I had, I could, wear headphones, and I think I looked up guitar podcasts, and the Tone Mob was the first one. But then, bought the pedal, found Chasing Tone, and really, started listening to both of those podcasts pretty regularly. The Tone Mob was good because it got the gear fixed for me. But then Wampler's Chasing Tone with, Blake and eventually Richard Oliver coming on, it just felt like you were hanging out, and it felt, it was something I could kind of relate to. And then it just kind of snowballed, I started kind of getting on social media a little bit, DMing back and forth with, Blake Wyland and occasionally Brian Wampler if I had any issues. And I just felt that like sense of community start to happen again, like these people that are really driven individuals, and it really drew me to those two people in particular. And then, I started really diving deep into Wampler and started getting some more pedals, and let's see where we're at. I got a bunch of stuff here, and I'm just going to go through all the Wampler pedals I have. It's a little excessive, I think, sometimes, but I don't really think so because it's always just one more, right? The gearbox is what I bought after the Dracarys, and introduced me to, all the great tones that you can get from, like a Pinnacle style, pedal with, the tumness on the other side. It was great. And the gate along with it was fantastic too. On top of that, I had been following Andy Wood, not too closely, but I knew who he was before this pedal came out, and he was one of my favorite, like, I guess, unknown guitar players at the time. I guess, I don't know. There's still some people that don't really know who Andy Wood is, which is a shame. If you don't know who Andy Wood is, check him out. I just did a video covering, kind of poorly, one of his songs. But yeah, I started buying a bunch of stuff, and I bought, Pantheon Dual Overdrive. It's great. And the most recent one that I got was this Wampler Latitude. I got this from a shop up in Indianapolis that I used to work at. I got it for a steal on the used end. And it's great. But no, Wampler makes great stuff, obviously. There's no, ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are a phenomenal brand. They make high-quality stuff. And the biggest thing for me with Wampler is they have this customer service that I haven't really seen a whole lot with, not specifically with gear companies. Gear companies are always great with customer service, at least from what I've seen. The companies I've reached out to have always been super cool. I'm just talking about in the normal, outside of the gear world. Customer service is kind of shoddy. But, you can email Brian directly, and the likelihood of you getting an email back from him is like 99%, which is crazy. The guy that makes the stuff, and it's cool. I really love it. And that's not to say that I don't like anything other than Wampler. It's just they pulled me out of that little funk I was in, and it wasn't their intention to do that. But it all started with just a pedal, and that's just what blows me away. It's insane. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this long rambling craziness that is the reason I got into Wampler. So hopefully that kind of answers some questions as to people on social media as to why I have a lot of Wampler stuff. And to answer someone very specifically, I'm not going to call them out or anything. How many Wampler pedals do I need? One more. And it will always be one more. Just as a disclaimer too, this is not an endorsed, paid promotion from Wampler. All these pedals you see right here, I bought them individually. I've talked to Brian, I've talked to Richard Oliver. We do communicate, somewhat regularly on the internet. But everything you see before you is stuff that I bought. I haven't gotten anything for free from Wampler. I just truly love that company, and they're great. All applicable links for Wampler and myself will be down below. So if you want to check out any of the fine products that Wampler makes, go ahead and click the link down below. And we'll see you on the next video.